Raven fans, Oriole fans, it's Wednesday night, so it must be time for the Ravori Sports Podcast. Thank you for joining us here. I'm going to drink a sip. They say you shouldn't sip on camera, but I'm thirsty, so I'm just going to drink a sip here on camera here. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. Thank you very much for joining us tonight as well. We never miss. We're here every Wednesday night here on the Ravori Sports Podcast. Here we're going to be doing NFL off-season. Baseball is about to start up. We're like 3 weeks away from opening day, so we're very happy to go ahead and get squared away. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Today, I got a call today about an affidavit to go ahead and do that with the notary business. If you are in the Shenandoah Valley area, so definitely check us out. Genesis Notary Services here as well. Legal Shield, my heroes lately. Thank you, Legal Shield, for helping my business. Absolutely as well. You guys are missing out if you're on Legal Shield. Like, let me tell you something. If you want to spend a lot of money on lawyers and waste your time and waste all your, please do it. And don't sign up for Legal Shield, because you're really, if you have any legal representation and you need help with your business and everything, Legal Shield is absolutely the route you should go. RavoriSports.company.site. So we're revamping the app here pretty soon. We're going to be expanding that as well. So you're going to see it on different platforms. Doing something right now where you're going to see we can actually buy merchandise on Google. We can actually buy merchandise on Instagram. We can actually buy merchandise on Facebook, Amazon, etc. So we're still working on that, expanding that out as well. And if you don't see anything, you can hear ravorisports@gmail.com. So definitely you can go ahead and check that out. Let's see here. All right, so got the audio working like it's supposed to this week. Last week it wasn't working properly. All right. So you're here for mock draft. The draft is coming here pretty soon. So last week we did the whole league with the entire NFL mock draft. This week we're going to do our team, the Ravens 2025 mock draft. First, the entire 7th round mock draft. Do want to say with the Ravens, it is possible going forward that we are going to get some compensating picks. They are not in this mock draft because they have not been calculated yet. So the Ravens may have an extra 3rd round pick, extra 4th round pick. This is the formula that EDC and Ozzie Newsome have always used. Okay, so they lose players in free agency on purpose. When you lose more than you gain, you get those extra compensation picks in the 3rd and the 4th round in the draft. They've been doing this for a long time. They haven't been calculated yet. So we will see exactly what the Ravens actually get in free agency as far as the compensated picks. We should know about that in another week or two. So the next mock draft that may be calculated. But I think we're going to learn a lot tonight as far as what the Ravens might do in the mock draft. A lot happened today around the league. So let's take a look at our first Ravens mock draft. Now, we got this one out the way last week. Josh Connolly from Oregon. Big, strong guy. I really think this might be the best left tackle pure in the draft. Absolutely do. I think he's got a lot of upside. You see a lot of these guys that oohing and awing about in the draft that go on the right side, but I see a lot of guard tackle types in this one. Kelvin Banks is a guard tackle. Will Campbell might be a guard tackle. and etc. There's a lot of those guys. This guy is a left tackle, I think. Better pass blocker, I think, than run blocker. All the measurables are there. Not as good of a run blocker, though. I think that's the biggest reason why he's drafting to 27, but absolutely had a great Senior Bowl. Joe Noteboom, I think, is the comp for him. I think he might be a little better version of that as well. May get a chance to start right away. Again, no Ronnie Stanley, possibly going back. A lot of teams interested in Ronnie. Sebastian Castro from Iowa. So that great Kurt Ferentz Iowa program that has so many great former Ravens, great players throughout the Ravens system throughout the years. Former Ravens assistant. Sebastian Castro is really good prospect. I see Ufanga. The comp for him would be Ufanga for the 49ers. And I don't think there's any question this guy, whoever he plays with, he's going to play day one. I've seen him much lower than round 2 on a lot of draft boards. The reason for that, and I'm pretty sure what the reason is, he's 24 years old. Usually when you get prospects at 21, 22, you get a guy that's going to be 24 and he's going to be 25 when the season starts. It's a little bit of a turnoff for a team because there's no really time to develop him. But I think the thing with him is he could probably start right away. So I think that's a guy. He's every bit, I think, as good of a player as Darius Washington is. Loved what I saw from him. You can put him good coverage skills, good hitter, line of scrimmage, great football instincts. So I think this is a guy they'd definitely be interested in. They did say that they're looking at a safety. So there's no question about that. When I say they, EDC, John Harbaugh, etc. Third round, Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. Funny enough, the comparison I made was a guy that was just traded today, Joe Thuney-Chiefs, now of the Bears, who was just traded today. I think this is what you got here with Dylan Fairchild. Technical, great hands. Love his hands, love his balance. Maybe he needs to get a little stronger. I think that's what the varying – if you're seeing him lower, I think it's that. I think if you're a good team, if you're looking for pass blocking, somebody with good hands, maybe he's a little stronger as well. But a team like that, like maybe like the Chargers that wants to run all the time, but certainly the Ravens have possible opening on the left guard side, the left side. You could go ahead and put him in. I think he's more of a left guard than a right guard with his hands. Not the mauler that you hope for, but great hands. Kind of like Thuney. I think in certain situations, yeah, you could put him in tackle on the left side. So these two guys, when we talk about Crowney and Fairchild, you could absolutely put them on the left side. Great experience at Georgia. Familiar with Todd Monken's offense as well. So I think this is round 3. Round 4, Jack Beach from TCU. Alan Lazard from the Jets, I think, is the comp for him. I think this is kind of what the Ravens need here. I think you have Zay Flowers, who is emerging as your number 1 receiver, made the Pro Bowl. But what is he? He's a small, strong, but, quick, not very tall, great speed as well. Rashard Bateman, a little bigger, in terms of hands and tough catches. But this guy is a big guy, 6'5". You can catch the balls right down the seams. You can put him in the slot. If you're possibly moving on from Mark Andrews, you're going to need some help in the red zone. He absolutely can fit the bill for that. Not great speed, I don't think, 6'5", but he can make catches in traffic. He can catch it with his hands. He can out-jump defenders and things like that. So I think Beach, is a good choice here in the middle rounds. I think it's absolutely good to take Beach in the 4th round. Another guy in the 4th round. That name is right, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is his name, cornerback from Kansas. Actually named after, I did look that up, even though it's spelled different, Kobbee, Kobe. He actually was named after one of the greatest Lakers of all time, Kobe Bryant, cornerback from Kansas. Now, he's not on there because he's Kobe Bryant. I'm a big Kobe fan. That's not it. The comparison I made was Mark McMillan of the Chiefs, Mighty Mouse, they used to call him. That's kind of what he is. He's picked in the 4th round. Look, see him on the tape all over the field. Lots of great hands, great ball skills, ability to take it out of the way. I love his instincts in the field. not real big, not super quick. So I think that's why he's sliding down. I think like he's probably, I see a Mark McMillan. He may have to have a whole career in the slot, but I think he's a guy who is going to make a difference there. He's a guy who can take the ball away, go in the opposite direction, have that little bit of Marcus Peters in him. Will he get bowled over maybe by bigger physical guys on the outside one-on-one? Maybe, but I think you may never have to play him there. He can play him in the slot a lot. He can play a little bit outside. So I think Kobe Bryant is an excellent choice. Fourth round, similar to Mighty Mouse. Yes, that's a kicker. Ben Sauls from Pittsburgh compares to Brandon McManus, who just signed an extension today. I don't think Tucker's going to be back. Justin Tucker has, as we know, 17 massage therapists accusing him of wrong behavior. That's a lot. The Ravens were very non-committal. The other part of that, now that's out of the way, Tucker wasn't very good last year for the first time ever. He missed a lot of field goals. I never saw Tucker shank field goals until last year. Even when he missed them, I mean, he wasn't always perfect, but just a bad stretch of shanking field goals for a little while there. So I think they're going to be moving on. They're certainly going to at least draft a guy to give him some pressure. I think Sauls, he looks bigger than what his top. I looked at it like, man, he must be 6'2", 6'3". Not quite that big, almost 6 feet tall. Soccer style side kicker, very similar to Brandon McManus of the Broncos. Fifth round. Yes, that is right. Kyle McCord from Syracuse. Now you look at the uniform and you're seeing Ohio State. He played at Ohio State up until last year. He broke all types of records at Syracuse last year. All types of records at Syracuse last year. I think this guy's really being slept on. Kind of similar to Kobe Bryant, the comparison I just made. Everything I see with him that he does well. Throws the out well, looks off receivers well, has great instincts, very productive at Ohio State, very productive at Syracuse. He did have the one bad game where he had like 5 picks, which was terrible. But I think he's very, very good. The Purdy comparison is he's not, again, like, and going back to what I just said about Bryant, not that big, not that not overly, not arm strength isn't super duper. He makes all the throws, but he doesn't have a howitzer. He's not 6'4", 6'5", and he's not Lamar Jackson as far as running speed. So maybe he's limited. Maybe he isn't. I think it is possible upside. He could be a Brock Purdy, just very efficient, very solid. Definitely has all the other tools that an NFL quarterback would have. It's outstanding. 6, TJ Sheffield from UConn. Let's have another drink. TJ Sheffield from UConn. Definitely kick returner is on the menu for them. You're not going to see this name a lot in a lot of mock drafts because he's definitely strictly, I think, NFL level at this position. Kick returner. I don't think he plays wide receiver. He might in the late round. I think if you're just looking at him as a wide receiver level of undrafted free agent, he'll get a shot somewhere else. But definitely, if he makes a team, he'll be as a kick returner. I do see similarities to Rashid Salid of the Saints. This is why one of the reasons why I mocked him. The Ravens definitely are looking for that. I definitely think they might go here and take a draft pick on that. Kind of like Salid, not blazing speed, but great vision. When he's turning kicks and punts, he might help you a little bit at receiver on special teams as well. So he's a good special teamer. So I definitely think he may have a career in the NFL as special teams, picking in the 6th round. Here's another uniform different than what's on the graphic. Deshaun Parham from Michigan, played at University of Maryland. That's what the graphic, I left that up there. Played at University of Maryland, not this last year. He played at Michigan, went to transfer portal and played there. Pete Warner of the Saints. He misses some tackles. I think that's why he's in the 6th round. I think like he is one of these guys who's got to be coached up. I like him athletically, but discipline he doesn't really have at times. I think he kind of goes away from the play. Other people seem to like him more then I've always liked him. But I think he definitely has this. I mean, when you take a guy this late with his athleticism, that's a good move, I think. Here's a guy with definitely tremendous athleticism. Pete Warner misses some tackles, but he's a great athlete. And I think that's the thing you got to coach up out of him as well. But I think, again, to take it to sleep when you got an athlete like Parham, measurables off the chart for inside linebacker for him. 7th round. I don't know if I can pronounce his name. Waku from Colorado. I see some like draft stuff like comparison to Aaron Donald. I don't know about that. I kind of got the old school name Brenton Buckley of the Eagles. So Eagles Buckley played for the Eagles several years ago when Andy Reid was the coach. Kind of undersized, powerful DN. I think that's more accurate. I don't think he's an Aaron Donald where he's a masher. He's got some great speed. His build is maybe more like that, but that's it. When I see him on the field, this is what he is, like kind of undersized. He can probably do best 4-man line. I think that would be optimal. If he plays on the 3-man line, that's fine. I think you probably got to put him at the end as well. He can bust. He's a pretty good pass rusher for his size. Not actually, it's a better pass rusher than I think he's a run blocker as well for a DN. That's why I don't think he's a nose tackle, but he's a DN. Little undersized, which is why he's back here this far. Not tremendous speed, but good speed as well. So I think it's definitely worth taking in a late 7th round. And last, Quinn Carroll from Minnesota. Todd Harriman's another former Eagle. I have him. He's gonna if he plays in the league and has a long career, he's gonna be a guy that you can move around the line as a backup. Harriman's kind of was a starter, so I think that's the high end. But I think Harriman's played guard, he played center, he can play. That's kind of what I see with him. McCary almost would be a comp with him. I think that's kind of what you're getting with him. Guy with good versatility, played on the right side, capable of playing on the left side. Played on the left and right. Good versatility here as well. I think definitely could be coached up. So one of 3 I have offensive linemen I have in the mock. There you go. The mock draft for the Ravens here. So definitely we're going to do a couple mock drafts here for this for the NFL draft season that we have. We're going to do a couple of these mock drafts together, but I definitely wanted to go ahead and do the first ones here. We're going to separate them here. Let's do the chime. So the Ravens, this is the team that believes first and foremost in the draft. Every year they're crying about how they're broken at the cap. They don't have any cap space, et cetera, et cetera. They like to get it done in the draft. They like to go ahead and do things in the draft. This is how they move. This is how they operate as well. Absolutely. They want to go ahead and get things done on draft day. So that is the absolute move for the Ravens. They're definitely going to go ahead and do that. Get it done in the draft. There's no question about that. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. We're going to do some more Ravens here in a second. I got to get that graph up. Talk a little NBA here real quick. Paul George for the Philadelphia 76ers is stopping his podcast for now. Paul George was going ahead and doing a podcast every week while playing in the NBA for the Philadelphia 76ers. Apparently, the podcast was doing very well, but he is no longer going to be doing it for every week because they're losing. And there was a lot of people saying that he should go ahead and stop. For one, I think it's kind of silly when I hear people on a podcast or on a streaming saying that somebody else should stop a podcast. That's kind of crazy to me. I mean, the main reason it's obviously coming up is because the Philadelphia 76ers aren't any good. So that's pretty much the main reason for it. I do think it's kind of I mean, we are in, I think, 2025, obviously, and we're in the era of people multitasking and doing different things. And I think it's perfectly fine that you have this podcast every week and play ball. It's even silly to even bring up and be mad about it. What's the point of him stopping? What are you going to win more games because he didn't want to talk about LeBron James or the Luka trade or whatever? So it seems a bit silly to me to have to talk that way and stop a podcast because you're not winning games. So wanted to bring that up. Now we got the graphic. That's why you have those segments there. Ravens Awards. So this is going to be our last look back at 2024. We went ahead and talked about 2025. So this is the draft. What happened? Who was the best of the Ravens in 2024? The last. We haven't done a lot of these, so let's go ahead and check it out here. Most improved Raven. So which Raven improved the most last season? Let's talk about all three. Justice Hill. I thought Justice Hill was probably written out of town and walked out of town, and he actually willed his way to being a very decisive player into an extension. The first game, I mean, he was a better offensive lineman than Daniel Falele, handling Chris Jones in the blocking. So that was phenomenal the way he played. Justice Hill, look, they brought Derrick Henry in. They have Keaton Mitchell. They've done everything they can to move Justice Hill, and Justice Hill is still here. Justice Hill's getting an extension. So I think probably not for that. He probably would have got more time than that. Travis Jones, I think, has really developed into, I think, one of the better defensive tackles in the league. I think there's sky's the limit for this guy as well. But I think the biggest improvement and the biggest off move maybe all season is when they moved Darius Washington in the starting lineup and moved Marcus Williams to the bench. So I think that was fantastic stuff. Good for Marcus, good for Darius as well. I think he was the most improved Raven. Assistant coaches as well. Look, for years and years, I've always said we didn't have pass rush on this team. We didn't have pass rush as well. So, look, they lost Jadeveon Clowney. I'm going to give it to Chuck Smith, number 3. I think as far as an assistant coach, Chuck Smith was a very good pass rusher in his own right when he was a player. But I got to go with Chuck Smith. Look, 2 double-digit guys with sacks, Kyle Van Noy and Adafi Owe, guys who hadn't got it the year before. There was a lot of skepticism. I'm going to go ahead with that. The running back group, I think, might be the best in the league. I think Willie Taggart, I'm going to go ahead and give it to him. Derrick Henry was phenomenal as well. I think we just talked about how good Justice Hill was. They're still bringing back Keaton Mitchell at some point as well. I think the running back group was fun. I thought they did great. I thought I'm going to say Willie Taggart. But number one, I think the biggest coach, I think the assistant coach, the reason for the success was Todd Monken. We've had a lot of fun railing on offensive coordinators. I think the only reason why Todd Monken isn't a head coach somewhere is because he's like in his 50s. Had he been 35 or whatever with the job he did, he absolutely would have been, I think, a head coach and still may become one, considering it. But Todd Monken, I thought, was fantastic. I thought he was the best assistant coach. Best rookie. I don't think last year was the best year for the rookies. I think I've said that a couple times. But some guys, I think, are going to move forward last year. Cicely Kane, I think I had to put somebody third. Bo Braid was there on the team. You got nothing from Isaac. D's Isaac in the third round. You got nothing really from TJ Tampa. He really didn't play. Kane, I think had a full season on special teams. I think he was active for a lot of the games. I think probably this year too, going forward, I think you'll see more of him in the lineup. I thought he was fine when he played too. I didn't get much of an opportunity, but I didn't think when he played safety, he looked fine. The top two were very easy. Obviously, Nate Wiggins, number 2. I think definitely going forward, he's going to be your starter. He needs to be a little bit more disciplined, I think, at times. Not quite the discipline. See him kind of lose his technique at times, lose his temper at times. He's still very young. I think he's going to only be 21 this year in his second year. But I think Nate Wiggins, is going to have a good season going forward. But number one is easy, Roger Rosengarten. Look, when they put you next to Daniel Falele, like I don't know what to tell you. They put him with Daniel Falele. They had him McCurry. They started yanking him in and out. And I think Rosengarten could be, the starter next season at left tackle. I thought easily he was the best rookie. There was some shakiness in the beginning. By the middle of the year, he was an asset. He was outstanding. No question about it. Roger Rosengarten, best rookie as well. Best free agent acquisition or trade, easy again. Josh Jones barely played. I think he lasted on the roster last year. Chris Board, I think, played more than they thought. I think fortunately or unfortunately, you could look at it if they had Chris Board. Fortunately, they had Chris Board to actually play there for them when Trent Simpson didn't play as well as they hoped. And I think, unfortunately, they had to play him because Trent Simpson didn't play as well. So exactly why you get this is an EDC special, getting a guy that can step in and help. And that's exactly what Boyd did. Good on special team. But obviously, Derrick Henry was number one. Derrick Henry, this guy's on another level. Everything we saw. $9 million, that seems like a low number for what Derrick Henry brought to the team. The only negative is I think they didn't give him the ball enough. Even despite almost had 2,000 yards all season. Best defensive player. This was hard. I think the defense was really good in a lot of spots. I thought not having Roquan Smith on here was not easy to do. Nate Wiggins, up-and-comer, got a lot of upside as well. Mentioned Travis Jones, Michael Pierce, really good. But these are the three. Kyle Van Noy, I thought, was just fantastic last year. Just fantastic. Setting the edge, covering the edge of the offensive line. Guys didn't run outside of him. Not only did he do that, he went ahead and stopped pass rush. He got 10.5. I mean, Kyle Van Noy was fantastic. I think the record and the success they had without Kyle, with re-signing Kyle Van Noy was huge. So I definitely have him at number 3. Kyle Hamilton didn't have a great first week. Other than that, he was terrific all season long. I think Kyle Hamilton, you could play him. I'm totally convinced if they were to play him at linebacker full time, he'd be outstanding. Kyle Hamilton, I think, is probably going to be the highest paid safety in the NFL once their contract comes up. Certainly him and Linderbaum. So I don't have any problem with putting Kyle Hamilton number 2. He's probably your best player going forward. He wasn't better last year than Marlon Humphrey, though. Marlon Humphrey, everything was fantastic. He had like 6 tackles, 6 interceptions, all over the field, showed great leadership. And I had Marlon on the hot seat. Marlon had a lot of pressure on him last year. Marlon, it was a difficult season for him, difficult time the season before. Battled a lot of injuries. Marlon was terrific. So I definitely have Marlon number 1. Most valuable Raven. I almost picked Marlon for that, but I had him 3rd. I thought Marlon, was just great on defense last year. Just great on defense. Great player on defense. On the defense, I thought that was outstanding in a lot of ways. Derrick Henry and Lamar, it was very close. I almost put them both. You got to say Lamar Jackson, right? Like you got to say Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar, is going to be. I think Lamar's pretty much cemented himself in the Hall of Fame last year, and I think Derrick Henry did as well. I think Derrick Henry was his finesse, but I'm going to say Lamar. Lamar is one of one. There's no such thing as a Lamar Jackson anywhere else in the league. So Lamar, most valuable Raven. There you go. All right. So there it is. So our one more look at 2024, our awards as well. I don't think there's any question about that. This is Lamar Jackson's team. I don't think the next contract negotiation, which is coming up soon, is going to be any issue at all this time. For sure. I think they were a little hesitant this time. I don't think they're going to have any hesitation. I think this is going to be very quick, and they're going to make him again the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Basketball again. It's supposed to go at the Paul George segment, but Lakers on a win streak with Luka Doncic as well. So I had them not even in the top 5, but they are now in the top 5. The Lakers now have a record 39 of 21 as well. They're fan look with Luka Doncic on this team. You don't need anything else. LeBron is 40 years old. He can kind of play off the ball. He's scoring like 25 points a game. So shout out to my Lakers. They're definitely in contention, worthy finally of ESPN talking about them all the time. They're second in the West, and I think they are going to continue with that. With the there you go. Second in the West, I think, with Doncic and Luka there as well. So it is good stuff for the Lakers. Finally, worthy of ESPN all the time, talking about them every 30 seconds. Another guy, Jimmy Butler, now with the Golden State Warriors. Warriors now also on a roll. Jimmy Butler, this is perfect fit for him. Perfect fit. You talk about Luka Doncic, he would fit anywhere. This is perfect for him. Jimmy Butler out of Miami. I know how much Pat Riley loved him, but Steve Kerr, look, he doesn't have to carry the load. And the Warriors are absolutely on a roll lately as well. So those are two teams like ESPN getting their way with them doing that. Curry was fantastic last night at the Garden against the Knicks. Curry's phenomenal. I think I agree with Shaquille O'Neal when he says you should consider Steph Curry as one of the greatest players of all time. Absolutely have no problem with that. All right. Man. I'm going to check the score here in real time because they're playing real time. So the Terps tonight going against Michigan. I didn't stay and watch the whole game. So the Terps were successful tonight. That runs their record to 23-7 against the Michigan Wolverines. Got the hat on. My wife got me this hat here for a trip to Michigan. People think I got Michigan. Every time I go out with this Michigan hat, somebody yells, "Go Blue." Like sure enough, like we're here in Virginia. You think they're not here, but they're absolutely here. In Michigan, go Blue. So Terps were terrific. They are definitely going to be a top 4 seed in the draft in the NCAA tournament. It's now March. It's time for March Madness. I used to take the day off sometimes so I can watch March Madness. Back in the day, I can't do that anymore. But definitely, Rodney Rice tonight, 19 points. Seton Miguel, 17. Miguel has really been stepping up lately as well. Derek Queen, I think, might be first round draft pick as well. Their starting 5 is fantastic. Their starting 5 is terrific. They're not getting much from the bench. I think Geronimo again tonight got the most minutes. But if they can go into the tournament with their starting 5, absolutely they're going to give a team a hard time in the tournament as well. So senior day is going to be on Sunday against Northwestern. It's sold out. So they should be, because you got a good Maryland team that you're going to be seeing for some of the last times here. Some of those seniors, especially Julian Reese, is going to be playing his last game at home in a Maryland uniform as they go to the dance in March. Top 10 list marching on towards the MLB season. And so our top 10 list, the top 10 DHs in the MLB. So what is DH? Designated hitter. So these are guys that don't play the field. Now we used to have it. I still miss the old days where the National League didn't have DH and the American League did. Now the whole league has DH. We got DH on every team in the league. And again, some teams don't use it, in my opinion, the way they should. You got teams with a veteran hitter, can't play the field or whatever. It's a great opportunity. Like you see Christian Yelich kind of moving to full-time DH. That's what, to me, DH was created for. So now you got DH on every team. And so certain teams don't have it. I did one caveat to this. I did move Stanton off. I don't know if we're going to have him much this year. He has an injury with no timeline. So I don't know how serious it is, but I moved him off because I don't think we're going to have him for a while. So let's go over the top 10 list. That's not happening. There you go. All right. So who's on the list here? Suzuki from the Chicago Cubs. So Suzuki is a solid hitter, solid productive hitter. He hit 283, 21 home runs, 73 RBIs last year for the Cubs. I don't know if they've gotten as much as they've hoped from him, but they certainly have gotten a solid hitter. So a solid hitter as well. Not as much in the outfield. 30 years old. He's going to be 31, I think, this year. Solid hitter. I don't think he's going to be a stud. I don't know if he's going to be a super outfielder. He's not great in the outfield, but definitely, I mean, look, this is what you want from a DH. He's not necessarily going to be your best player on most teams, but this is the kind of what you want from the DH position. 21 home runs. I put him back in the top 10 with the Stanton injury. Here's a guy I kind of like. I've always kind of liked Andrew McCutchen for the Andrew McCutchen is the guy. So played a long time with the Cubs, played a long time with the Pirates, moved around a bit. 20 home runs, 50 RBIs. McCutchen is good. Is a good hitter. This again, perfect role for a guy like this. No longer in the field, maybe no longer an elite player, but you can get 25, 30 home runs out of a guy, putting him in the order, putting him in the bed, putting less pressure on him defense, having him rest more for the long season. McCutchen, I think, is a great signing. And for the Pirates, a team that loses a lot of players to the cap, it's good to have a guy, I think, there who's been there for a long period of time. Mastaka, but let's say that right for the Red Sox. Kind of, you could almost copy paste what I said for him. For I said with Suzuki, a lot of high hopes, maybe too high for him as far as what he was going to bring when he first got there. So maybe you're expecting a guy like a lot of Japanese players when they come in. I mean, you go through a lot of trouble to get them, etc. They're hard to get. You have to wait. So maybe you didn't get everything you hoped for, but what they got is what I think they're going to get. I think the upside here is a little bit better than Suzuki. 280, 10 home runs, 106 hits. So this guy can really hit. Definitely, I think there's a little bit more in the outfield that you can do. 31 years old. I think I keep him healthy for a whole year. He did miss some stretches last year. So I think that's the reason why his production is a little bit down. I think he can also hit more home runs in Boston. Anybody can with that short porch. So I definitely think he's number 8 as well. With there, Jock Peterson. Peterson, I think, is going to be a solid addition to. Used to play in the outfield, solid addition for the Rangers as well. 23 home runs, 64 RBIs, hit about 275 in his 30s. This is a guy 32 years old. Now, this is another one, kind of moving him into DH, kind of moving him in a position where he can be comfortable, kind of moving him into a spot where he can be more productive over a longer period of time. So definitely in that lineup that they have with Simeon and Sager and all those guys, you put a Jock Peterson in. I definitely have him in the top 7 as well. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes here. Jorge Soler for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Great movie that was, Angels in the Outfield as well. Oh, I think about like you see when you talk about that team. Soler, I think definitely the power is going to be there. So definitely you have him there. He hit 24 home runs last year. He hit like 40 the year before. He didn't play in as many games. You keep him healthy, he's going to hit for power. There's no question about it. He's certainly going to get a chance to play every day for sure in Los Angeles because there's not a lot there as well. Maybe hitting right around where Mike Trout is in the lineup. Soler, I think, is a lot to hit. You know what you're getting. You're going to get great power hitter with great power potential every year. How old is Soler now? He's 33 years old. this is what you want from a DH. So definitely is the good signing for the Angels. Definitely got money to spend now as well. So it's a good opportunity for Soler. I have him at number 6. Here's one of the most hidden gems, I think, in all of baseball is Brent Rooker for the Sacramento A's. Rooker, I think, is 39 home runs, 112 RBIs, played a lot of his position in DH. I think Rooker, I'm a little surprised that that he's actually stayed in Oakland as well. I'm surprised that another team just didn't come in and take it, but he's terrific. Definitely, he's going to play a lot of DH. I'm almost put him as a left field, but I think he's going to. He played more DH. He's going to play more DH, I think, than everybody else. They've definitely opened the extension talks. I think this guy's a phenomenal hitter. I think he's a phenomenal hitter for years to come. I think he's a bit of a late bloomer. He hits for power. He hits for average. There's definitely a lot to like about Brent Rooker. This is definitely what they've been waiting for a long time in Sacramento. Almost called him Oakland, no longer Oakland. But Rooker, I think, is the goods. He's the real deal. Brent Rooker at number 5. Number 4. How can you not love Kyle Schwarber, man? Kyle Schwarber is a big old hitter. He's definitely, look, you're not supposed to teach guys to swing for the fences all the time. Anybody who watch baseball or coach baseball, you don't swing for the fences all the time. You're supposed to swing for it. You're supposed to hit it on the ground. Schwarber pays that no mind. His average was actually better last year than his been. He hit 248, 38 home runs, 104 RBIs. If you don't like baseball, if you don't like Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber hits for the fences, has his beard, doesn't always stay in shape, and just pounds home runs. It's fantastic. I love Schwarber. Schwarber, I think, is a national treasure hitting the baseball. Schwarber, number 4. Number 3 is Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. I think Alvarez is really good. I think like he continues to be productive. I think now probably him and Altuve are pretty much the last pieces of cheese here in Houston for the dynasty. I think Alvarez, I think you know what he's going to give you. He's going to DH more. He's going to play in the outfield. I think at his age, he's still not very good in the outfield. He's still young. But I think like DH is where you put him. He's going to give you 35 home runs. I think like if it's not for the 2 guys on the list who are unusually good, like he would be much higher. But Jordan Alvarez, I think, is the straw that stirs the drink. I think he's one of the better hitters. Now again, because he's a DH, I don't think he's talked about as much. But I think Alvarez, I think, is fantastic. Marcell Ozuna for the Braves. I think there's an injury for him. I think that there's an injury for him or whatever. Let me check that. I think he's an injury. The numbers are just off the chart. 39 home runs, 104 RBIs. I thought he was the best. I thought he was the second best player in the National League last year. But I think he was as good of a hitter. Some guys don't like him. I hear he's not that good of a guy, or guys don't like him, but he's definitely had his option picked up for 2025. But the sky's limit. I think no, he's not the one with the injury. But he's an outstanding power hitter. Outstanding hitter all the way around. No question about it, Ozuna. But number 1, there's no doubt, Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers. He's got a lot of money. And I think like I'm going to correct people to say he's not already in the Hall of Fame. Shohei Ohtani's already in the Hall of Fame. But if he never played another game, he's already in the Hall of Fame. I think he's the best DH. He's going to, for sure, get you 50-plus home runs. He does it every year. And I think we're going to see him on the mound this year, for sure. But he's on a team where he doesn't have to have pressure tomorrow. He may get some starts. I think he may, after the All-Star break, no reason to rush him. But certainly, I think, could go down as the greatest DH in the history of baseball. Shohei Ohtani, number 1. There you go. So Shohei is the number 1 DH. there was a little bit more meat and potatoes with these DH. These are some good players here. Like I was previous years, I was kind of like almost dreading really good players. Shohei is there. Osuna was there. Those guys are MVP candidates. Brent Rooker, Alvarez, really good. I mean, even you talk about a guy like a Cholet or Schwarber, lots of production at the DH position for those guys. Tristan Yelich, like, is a guy, didn't quite make it. So, yeah. So, again, so there you go. The DH lists for the MLB, definitely check that out. All right. Third spring training report as well. That's the wrong one. That's a good one. That's the wrong one. So, Orioles, third spring training report for the Baltimore Orioles. So let's go over that as well. What you definitely want for your spring, now you're in the full spring. Now you're at the point of spring training where do guys look ready to go? Are they ready to play? There's some concern there as well. Sometimes it's guys you're slow walking, right? You don't want to do too much. They're not. They may be ready, but it's spring training, so just go ahead, sit, relax, and wait. Certain guys are showing concern. I'm a little bit concerned with some of the stuff that I'm seeing. So let's go over them. Trim the roster down. They definitely did. Option and reassign Colin Shelby, Salas Orion, Justin Ermister, Dylan Beavers, Enrique Bradfield, Judge Fabian, Jacob Hernandez. There's more. Yamati Hogado, Jeremiah Jackson, Robertson Martinez, Carlos Tarver, Nathan Webb. They sent down to Marley Camp March 2nd. Oh, I'm sorry. So a lot of those guys were never going to make the team. Dylan Beavers, I thought, was good. Bradfield was then complimented by Mike Elias. So these guys, for the most part, were never going to make the roster. Get them in Major League Camp, get them going, maybe see some Major League history, but they weren't, there's nobody on this list I thought had a legitimate chance to make the roster out of spring training as well. Get them down to minor league camp because these guys are going to Norfolk and Bowie, most likely everybody on this list. So that's it. No Gunnar Henderson right now. Left side discomfort, expected return week of March 3rd. So this was the first report we got. Still a little sore, has improved, but I think it's a precautionary removal. I think they're just taking no chance. This is your franchise player, Gunnar Henderson. So there's no reason to do anything else with Gunnar. No reason to take any type of chances. Go ahead, let Gunnar get better. He hasn't come back yet. We'll get to that, but like still, I think they're just being cautious here. Same here with Jordan Westberg, injury, lower back soreness as well. I think he actually did come back and play. Westberg resumed baseball activities March 1st. Again, no reason. This is a guy for sure that's going to be on your team. Could be in the All-Star game. No reason to go ahead and take any chances if he's got a sore back or muscle. Just take that opportunity to look at other players. I think in both cases, I don't think it's serious. I think Gunnar maybe a little bit more lingering there as well. Monday, Charlie Morton started against the Red Sox, so Casano was in relief as well. Cade Povich, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Anthony Kittredge, Greg Soto, and Brandon Young all pitched in the game. So those are some key pieces there of some guys that actually pitched all in the game. It's interesting. Morton, I thought, didn't do much. I mean, he was there. He was there and gone. Saganos looked good so far. I've really been impressed with what I'm seeing. A lot of pitchers from Japan, one advantage that they have, unlike minor league players and players like that, what's the big advantage? They're pitching in Japan, so the guys don't know them. Right? They don't. The one thing they rely on is scouting reports and all that, etc. So you have no idea with a guy from Japan. So I think he's taking full advantage of that. He's looked good. Povich, Dominguez got some time in, Soto, etc. So again, Gunnar, one more time here, been diagnosed with a mild collateral intercostal strain. So, Brandon High said, relayed the information to reports today. Courtesy, thank you very much, Jake Grill. So they kind of told us what it is, like with that intercostal strain that Gunnar Henderson has. I do think that Gunnar is injured, but again, there's no reason to take a chance. I think it'd have been a regular season game. He'd have probably played through it, giving it every opportunity to go ahead and play out. Kittredge did pitch, but he did report left surface over the weekend in discomfort and lingering. So the right-handed pitcher is waiting for a small round of information to go down before he resumes activity. So Kittredge is going to be a big part of your bullpen this year. And again, said it one more time, no reason to go ahead and have him out here doing stuff as well. It does seem to be a bit more serious than precautionary. So it is possible that he might miss opening day because he's really on no timetable yet to go ahead. So he can't resume activities, and they don't know when he's going to resume activities. So it is a bit more, in my opinion, than precautionary as well. So keep that in mind. May need to go in a different direction as far as starters as well. Little bit of a concern. Grayson Rodriguez diminished velocity in Wednesday's Grapefruit game that was earlier today, feeling sluggish and an inability to get behind the ball. His heater was at 87. That's not good. This is Grayson Rodriguez. He throws 90 plus, getting around 100 on the radar gun. So pitchers do take a little bit longer than hitters. So let's just go there as well. But still, you were hoping for better in the first start. But pitchers, there's a reason why pitchers and catchers report early, because they do take a little bit longer than hitters to actually get ready. But it is a concern that possibly your number two guy, that's a lot of velocity. That's a lot. That's not a little bit. You kind of expect a guy 92, 93, but like 87 fast, that's not good. So good luck for Grayson. Hopefully we can get better. Finally, we have a resolution in the Orioles and Nationals Masson dispute. A few minutes on this. So basically what's happened, this is, if you don't know, for years, Masson, Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, the Orioles network, for many years now, I want to get the year wrong, but since the early 2000s, the Orioles have made an agreement for the Nationals to get a team from Montreal when they were the Montreal Expos and became the Washington Nationals. The Orioles got an agreement that they had the TV rights for the Washington Nationals. So essentially, they're controlling the TV rights for the Nationals because the Orioles were losing the DC area's fan base, whatever. So to make up that money, Peter Angelo said, hey, I need to get the biggest piece of the Nationals TV revenue and put it in the pocket. It's been a cluster ever since. The Nationals haven't always gotten their money like they're supposed to. The Orioles were always saying, well, we don't owe you what we think they owe you, blah, blah, blah. They've been in court literally 15 years. So the resolution is the Orioles and Nationals are going to play one last season together on Masson. And then after that, the Nats are free to go ahead and go get their own TV deal. I think this may clear the way for a sale for the Nationals. Now, the Lerner family, again, the last thing I saw, like a month ago, they said they weren't going to sell. I don't buy that necessarily. But it is possible they may not sell. Certainly, you're going to see Monumental Sports, which used to be Home Team Sports, which used to be Comcast Sportsnet, which used to be NBC Sportsnet, in on this. I'm sure they would be dying to bid on the Nationals, right, and pay a lot of money with the. The Nationals have lost a ton of money with this. I mean, just a ton. Like, DC's bigger than Baltimore. They could have gotten double what the Orioles got. And so they've been forced to take less than what they've gotten. And on top of that, the Orioles didn't pay them what they were supposed to be getting. And they had to go to court every year to get that. So, and it's taken 15 years. So the Nationals really have an opportunity here to get bigger. It's possible Ted Leonis could come in and buy the net. He's been trying to buy them for it. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but definitely finally this dispute's over. So interesting to see what happens with the Nats. The Nats for sure, I think, are going to go. Interesting to see what happens to the Masters. We'll see if the Orioles even continue with that, with just themselves on not the Nationals. Absolutely no chance. Like the Nationals went to all this trouble to get free of the Orioles agreement and then sign with Madison again. That's crazy. So think they're going to be elsewhere as well. Glad it's over for both sides. The both sides can move on. The two owners that started this deal actually are passed away. Peter Angelos and Al Lerner are no longer with us, and the deal's still in place. So 5-4 Orioles in spring training as well in the Grapefruit League. So definitely records aren't too much, but they haven't looked great, honestly. From what I've been seeing and reading and everything in spring training, 5-4. Grayson didn't look great today. They've been kind of slow walking. You haven't had Gunnar Henderson. So it doesn't matter as much when the season starts, but we'll see when the actual season starts how the Orioles look. But 5-4 as far as that goes in spring training. Thank you very much. So definitely check us out on all of our platforms. Driving to the Top Productions. Definitely check that out. Thank you, all of you, for watching our videos on there. Going to be on Spotify now. So definitely every week, Spotify, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all platforms. We're definitely checking out the Ravori Sports Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, and y'all have a great rest of your day.